Before the first blood touched the earth, the heavens fell into a strange, heavy silence. Stars that once sparkled softly dimmed their light in sorrow. A tremor rippled across the unseen realms, warning creation of what was coming. Cain and Abel lived unaware of this cosmic shift. They tended their flocks and fields like ordinary brothers. Abel carried gentleness, a heart tuned to divine harmony. Cain worked with intensity, chasing validation he couldn't describe. A silent tension hung between them, growing like a shadow before sunset. Even the breeze felt cautious, as if afraid to disturb destiny. Birds flew in hesitant patterns, unsettled by the coming tragedy. The world felt as though it was holding its breath. Heaven watched with deep melancholy. Darkness lingered at the edges of their land, and the ground beneath them braced for history's first wound. The sky dimmed in mourning, and creation knew what humans did not. Cain and Abel were brothers, but the paths of their hearts diverged early. Abel saw blessings in every sunrise. His offering flowed from gratitude and purity. Cain worked hard, but with a heart clouded by expectation. His desire for recognition overshadowed his devotion. Abel approached the altar with humility. Cain approached with quiet frustration simmering beneath his breath. The smoke from Abel's offering rose straight into the heavens. Cain's smoke drifted sideways, unsettled and wavering. The heavens acknowledged sincerity, not formality. Cain's heart cracked under the weight of rejection. His eyes dimmed with a bitterness he couldn't control. Jealousy sprouted like thorns in his spirit. Abel tried to comfort him, unaware of the storm growing behind his brother's eyes. But Cain's resentment had already taken root, and destiny turned its gaze toward them. As Cain walked home, a dark whisper followed him like an invisible shadow. It wasn't a demon, nor a curse. It was his own wounded pride. The whisper grew from pain and twisted into envy. Why him? Why not you? It repeated endlessly. Cain's heart grew heavier with every step. His thoughts tangled like vines tightening around his mind. Abel noticed his sadness and offered gentle words. But kindness felt like salt on Cain's wounds. The whisper painted Abel as an obstacle. It fed illusions of greatness denied. Cain's weakness opened the door for bitterness to rule. His heart darkened with emotions he didn't understand. The whisper became louder, heavier, sharper. It began to feel like his only companion, and a tragedy silently prepared itself. Cain invited Abel to walk into the fields, far from watching eyes. The land stretched quietly, unaware of its tragic destiny. Grass swayed gently, masking the tension in the air. Abel followed with trust, not knowing what his brother planned. Cain's breath grew uneven while Abel hummed softly. Clouds drifted overhead, dimming the light. Shadows grew longer, wrapping around the brothers like warnings. The whisper in Cain's spirit roared for dominance. His hands trembled, not with fear but with inner conflict. Abel turned to him with gentle concern. Cain looked at him with eyes overflowing with sorrow. The world fell silent, as if expecting a storm. Even nature refused to move. Time paused in disbelief, and the fields prepared to witness humanity's first tragedy. When the act happened, the heavens recoiled as if struck by lightning. Abel collapsed silently, his breath fading like a soft wind. The earth shook beneath them, absorbing the first sacred blood. A deep crimson stain seeped into the soil. Cain stumbled backward, horrified by his own hands. The whisper that guided him vanished instantly. Silence fell heavy, suffocating him with regret. Abel's body lay motionless in the stillness. The world felt colder, darker. Even the air refused to move. Animals hid, confused and frightened. Cain's heart cracked open with shock and grief. He had not gained anything, he had lost everything. Innocence shattered in a single moment. The earth mourned deeply, and the sky dimmed in sorrow. Abel's blood cried out with a voice that was not mortal. The ground trembled beneath its grief. A sorrowful echo rose upward, piercing the celestial realms. Angels paused, sensing the tragedy unfold. The heavens opened in mourning. Divine presence swept across the land like thunder. Cain shook violently as judgment approached. A voice called out to him, "Where is your brother?" It echoed with pain more than anger. Cain tried to hide behind denial, but truth circled him like fire. His guilt burned through his defenses. The heavens witnessed humanity's first moral fall. The divine sorrow weighed heavily upon Cain's soul, and the universe itself seemed to shiver. Cain's trembling voice whispered, "Am I my brother's keeper?" The words hung in the air like shattered glass. It was not rebellion, it was despair, a desperate attempt to flee from responsibility. But the heavens did not bend to excuses. "Your brother's blood cries out to me," came the divine reply. The truth struck Cain like a blade made of sorrow. He felt every ounce of his wrongdoing. The bond between brothers had shattered. Humanity's innocence had fractured for the first time. Witnessing the weight of consequences broke Cain's spirit. He looked upon the world with new fear. His heart carried more sorrow than anger, and the world changed forever. Cain feared death more than anything, but mercy came in unexpected form. Instead of destruction, he received divine protection, a mark that warned the world not to kill him. It did not glorify him, it exposed him. People felt a cold presence when he approached. Trees bent away from his path, even animals sensed the shadow carried within him. Cain walked with remorse heavier than mountains. His exile represented humanity's first consequence. He became a wandering reminder of broken innocence. Every step echoed the tragedy he caused. His story spread through generations like a warning. The mark stayed visible across ages, and the earth remembered the pain he brought. Cain became living sorrow. The ground where Abel fell became sacred with grief. Grass refused to flourish there. Wind whispered his name across the valley. People came to feel the sorrow that lived in the soil. Abel's innocence became a symbol of purity lost. Cain's fall became a symbol of humanity's fragile heart. The tragedy carved itself into the moral compass of early mankind. Children grew up hearing warnings about jealousy. Families taught love more carefully. Even the sky felt heavier when the story was retold. The world carried the memory of its first wound. And humanity learned the cost of uncontrolled emotion. The story shaped civilizations before scriptures existed, and its echo lives on to this day. The true mystery of Cain and Abel is deeper than a brother's jealousy. It reveals the first battle between human desire and divine wisdom. The whisper Cain heard came from his own brokenness. Abel's purity reflected humanity's best potential. Their clash created the first understanding of moral choice. Cain's fall showed how dangerous unguarded emotions can be. Abel's death taught compassion through sorrow. Together, they created the foundation of human conscience. The tragedy was not meant to destroy humanity, but to awaken it, to teach the cost of darkness and the value of light. Their story is not about punishment, it's about learning, not about villains, but about consequences. The mystery is a mirror of the human soul, and its lesson still speaks across every generation. For we all carry a little of Cain and Abel within us. If this journey moved your spirit, make sure to subscribe to the Spiritual Sphere today. Here we uncover hidden scriptures, forgotten mysteries, and spiritual truths buried in the depths of ancient wisdom. Join a growing community of seekers who refuse to settle for ordinary answers. Your awakening continues with our next video.